urges Congress to keep the power to declare war and for the National Guard to be protected from federal executive powers. With that, I renew my motion.
Chairman Reedy renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you so much, Speaker and sponsor. This came through committee, and while I understand the idea, right, and am supportive in some ways, I do not think this resolution is the best use of our resources as a General Assembly, and is not something that I can support. But I want to be clear about the things that we do agree on here. One of the main things is that the congressional military industrial complex is a problem. We spend billions of dollars on wars, and it is ineffective. It is not useful for our taxpayer resources. And so in committee, you and I were agreeing on sort of those principles, that we need to ensure that if ever a decision to go to war happens, that it is deliberative and intentional, right? And I agree with you on that. I believe, and I shared this in committee, a colleague of ours, Scott Crosby, said under President Eisenhower's presidency, there wasn't a war happening, and after he was president, people said it must have been so easy. And he said, going to war is easy, not going to war is very difficult. And so I really do believe that we have to be intentional and serious and determined in these types of choices as it relates to our family members, our community members, our constituents' lives. Being used in war. But the challenge that I have with this resolution and why I cannot support it is a couple of things. One is the reality. The authorization of the use of military force gave the president a whole lot of power and leverage when it came to being able to use military members in acts of war. You write here that the United States executive branch has unconstitutionally assumed this power while the United States Congress has abdicated its constitutional duty. And I believe that if we are true believers in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, this type of resolution would be better directed at our Congress people, the folks who are literally funding these wars. Because it's the resources of taxpayers, it's the hundreds of millions, it's the billions of dollars that presidents are being given by the folks in Congress, right, that is allowing for these wars to exist in perpetuity. And the other thing that I had a challenge with here is where it says, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 113th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, the Senate concurring, that we hereby urge the United States Congress to keep the power to declare war and for the National Guard to be protected from executive power. Well, Congress already does have the power to declare war, as is mentioned in our United States Constitution, but they continue to fund wars for presidents and the imperial presidency to persist, which is why I believe this would be better directed at telling Congress to stop using taxpayer monies to fund wars. But the second part is very harrowing to me because it is an attempt to, as is read here, the National Guard to be protected from executive power. And many of you here know the story of Little Rock, Arkansas, where the folks in the state did not want to integrate schools. They refused to. And so the President of the United States had to nationalize the Guard in order to escort the black students into the school. I believe that the President having that power is really important for times such as those. Removing executive power at the congressional level, if that was to be replicated here at the state level, it would have meant that the governor probably wouldn't be able to have troops and National Guards members down in Texas. So you got to think of the ramifications of what we are talking about here from every lens. So this is why, although I do not want more funding and billions of dollars to be spent on war and would much rather us spend billions of dollars investing in poverty intervention, in housing, in Medicaid expansion, right? I get it. I want us to use our resources wisely. I don't think that this is the right route for us to take. And so with that, I thank you again and appreciate your time.